All right, so we're diving into the Shiba Inu ecosystem today. Got our wetsuits.
You bet. Always ready to get into the SEB depths.
We've got two articles we're going to unpack. Should be a good one.
Yeah, looks like we've got some whale activity and even some AI predictions to explore.
Definitely a lot to unpack there. Speaking of whales, this first article, Shiba Inu, SHI, sees 360% whale activity surge. Details. Kind of caught my eye.
Can't say I blame you. 360%. That's quite a splash.
Yeah, that's not just some small fry making waves.
Yeah.
That's got to be some serious SHI being moved around. What do we even talk about when we say whale activity? Like, what does it actually mean for someone holding, a normal amount of SHI?
Right. So basically, whale activity means those holding massive, and I mean massive amounts of SHI are making moves. Could be buying, selling, shifting their holdings, that kind of thing.
So a 360% surge.
Yeah.
That's got to make some serious ripples, right?
Oh, absolutely. A jump like that usually means one of two things. Either these whales are anticipating a price pump, trying to load up beforehand,
Ugh.
or they're reacting to something, some news or development. The stablecoin announcement, for example, could definitely be a factor.
So it's like we know something big is happening, but is it a good big or a bad big? How do we even begin to connect this whale activity with what the price of SHI might do?
Well, historically speaking, when these big players make a move, the price of SHIB tends to follow. It's basic supply and demand at the end of the day, right? If a whale is buying up a ton of SHIB, that demand pushes the price up. And of course, if they're selling, well, the opposite happens.
Makes sense. So any hints in the article about which way these whales might be leaning?
They do mention some key price levels. Traders call these support and resistance levels. Basically, these are points where historically a SHIB has had a hard time breaking through or, dropping below.
Hold on, gotta admit. Support and resistance, that's a bit of trader jargon for me. Can you break that down a bit? What does that mean in plain English?
Sure, no problem. Think of support levels like a safety net. The article mentions 0.0000016, meaning that in the past, SHIB has rarely dropped below that. People see it as a good price to buy in, so it pushes the price back up. Resistance is kind of the opposite. It's like a ceiling. This article points to 0.0000000001848 as a resistance level, meaning SHIB often hits selling pressure as it gets close to that price.
So basically, these levels give us a potential range to keep an eye on. But like you said earlier, with SHIB, anything is possible. It's known to be pretty volatile, right?
Oh, absolutely. Now, the article also brings up the Relative Strength Index, RSI, which is currently neutral for SHIB.
Okay, and just to remind folks at home, RSI, that's...
It's basically a way to gauge if an asset is overbought or oversold. And right now, for SHIB, it's neutral, which suggests that recent price action hasn't pushed it into, extreme territory just yet.
That's interesting, right? Because we've got this massive whale activity. You'd think we'd see a stronger signal in the RSI.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Could be that this whale activity is still developing, Or maybe the buying and selling are pretty balanced out, so we're not seeing a super strong trend in either direction at the moment.
So the whales are definitely up to something.
Hmm.
But the RSI is basically telling us to stay tuned. Man, this is getting good already.
It is. And speaking of exciting things happening, let's move on to this other article. It's all about this new stablecoin the SHI Stablecoin ecosystem is working on.
Yeah, this one is called Shiba Inu. AI predicts SEB's price for the weekend. Definitely grabbed my attention with that title. But yeah, it dives into this stablecoin, SHI, right?
Right. And just for anyone who's not totally familiar, a stablecoin is designed to maintain a stable value. They're usually pegged to something like the US dollar.
So it's like a little island of stability in the middle of the often wild sea of crypto. So why is this SA blank stablecoin such a big deal?
Well, it could really change the game for SHIB, in terms of actually using it. Right now, people mostly just trade and speculate on SHIB, but a stablecoin like this SHI, this could open up a lot more possibilities. Like, imagine actually buying things with it, paying bills, even sending money internationally.
So less about riding the meme wave and more about real-world use.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of the SHIB army, that super passionate community they've got. They could really push for adoption of this stablecoin.
Oh yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with for sure. Okay, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we were just talking about these whales, right? This massive surge in activity. You think that's connected to this stablecoin launch at all?
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's very possible. I mean, these whales, they usually have their ears to the ground. They know what's going on. They have access to information, and they definitely understand the potential impact something like SHI could have. It wouldn't surprise me if their moves are directly related to this.
So they're really trying to build something bigger here, huh? Like not just a flash in the pan, but a whole economy.
Yeah, it's definitely ambitious. You can see they're trying to make SHI more than just, a meme, something with actual utility, more integrated into the whole crypto space. It's about longevity now, not just going viral.
Yeah, less to the moon and more like building a whole SHIB planet or something.
Haha, exactly. And let's not forget about the Ship Army either. That community is super passionate, very vocal. If they get behind this stablecoin, it could really take off.
Oh, yeah. They're a force of nature, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but, with all this talk of whales and stablecoins and potential price swings, it's easy to get caught up in the hype. What's the most important thing for, someone who's new to all this? What should they keep in mind?
Honestly, first and foremost, don't forget that all investments have risks, especially in the crypto world. Things can change fast. So yeah, never invest more than you can afford to lose. That's rule number one with crypto.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Don't bet the farm on a meme coin, right? No matter how promising it seems.
Exactly. Do your research, understand the risks, all that good stuff. Don't let your emotions make your investment decisions for you.
Speaking of emotional decisions, this article throws another curveball our way: AI price predictions. One AI model is predicting SHIB could hit, get this, 0.00037779 by, wait for it, October 6th. That's like, what? This weekend?
Yeah, that would be quite the jump. And hey, AI can be a useful tool. It definitely has its place. But it's important to remember these are just predictions, not guarantees.
Right, so not a crystal ball, no matter how much we want it to be.
Exactly. These models, they're using historical data and algorithms and all that, but they can't predict everything. Unexpected stuff happens all the time. Regulatory changes, the whole market shifts. People just wake up and decide they feel differently about something. All that can affect the price.
It's like trying to predict the weather, right? You can have all the fancy tech in the world, but sometimes Mother Nature throws you a curveball. So how should we even be thinking about these AI predictions, especially with something as volatile as SHIB?
I'd say take it as one data point among many. Don't base your whole strategy on what one AI model says. Consider it alongside everything else. The news, the overall market trends, technical analysis, and your own personal risk tolerance.
So a balanced approach. Don't put all our eggs in the AI basket, so to speak. But even if this specific prediction doesn't pan out, this article makes a good point about the long-term implications of this stablecoin, right? Like how it could totally change how SHIB is used, how it's adopted, what's the thinking there.
So right now, one of the big hurdles for a lot of cryptocurrencies, included, is this gap between the crypto world and the, real world. For something to really take off, people need to be able to use it in their everyday lives, right?
It's got to be about more than just trading it back and forth.
Right, exactly. And a SHIB-backed stablecoin, that could be a way to bridge that gap. Imagine being able to use SHI to buy groceries, pay your bills, even send money internationally. That's the idea.
So it's like legitimizing SHI as a real currency, not just something you mess around with online. But be honest, how realistic is all that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Lots of things have to go right. It needs to actually be stable, obviously. It needs to be easy to use. And probably most important, people, businesses, they need to actually accept it.
It can't just be the SHA fans using it. It has to get traction outside of that.
Yeah, exactly. But if it does work, if it gets that kind of widespread adoption, that could completely change the game for SHIB. More adoption equals more demand, which could really push the price up in the long run.
Okay, now we're talking. Long-term vision, that's what gets investors excited.
Yeah.
But let's be real, we can't ignore the elephant in the room here. Crypto is volatile. Even if this stablecoin is a smashing success, other things can still affect the price of SHIB.
Oh, absolutely. It's not like SHIB exists in a vacuum.
Yeah.
You've got global economics, regulations, the overall sentiment around crypto. All that can impact even the most promising projects.
So even if SHIB does everything right, it's still at the mercy of the bigger market.
Pretty much. That's why it's so important to keep an eye on the big picture.
Can't just focus on your own little corner of the market.
Nope. Got to look at the whole thing.
So it's like, what, navigating a ship? You need to know about the currents and the tides and all that, not just your destination.
Perfect analogy. And speaking of navigating tricky waters, this AI prediction, even if it's just one data point, it does make you wonder.
You mean, what if it's right? What if SHIB really does go crazy this weekend?
Exactly. I mean, we shouldn't bet the farm on it, but we can't completely ignore the possibility either.
It's a good reminder that in the crypto world, anything can happen. Surprises happen all the time.
All the time. SHIB itself is proof of that, right? From meme coin to, exploring stable coins and real world use cases. It's a wild ride.
Definitely a wild ride. And it's anyone's guess where it goes next. This whole AI prediction thing, it got me thinking. We've been talking about this bridge between, like, the meme world and, real world use for Esh. But what if, and stay with me here, but what if that bridge goes both ways?
Both ways. What do you mean?
Okay, so stablecoins, right. The whole point is stability, taking some of that wild crypto volatility out of the equation. But what if? What if that actually makes SHIB less exciting for some people?
Ah, I see where you're going with this. You're saying that by becoming more, like, practical, more mainstream, Eshib might lose some of that, rebellious, meme-fueled energy that made it popular in the first place.
Yeah. It's like, to succeed long term, maybe it needs to grow up a bit, be more stable, all that. But then does it lose what made it special to begin with?
It's the classic dilemma, isn't it? Trying to stay true to your roots while also, adapting, evolving. It's not just a crypto thing, it's everywhere.
Totally. So yeah, I guess with SHI, we'll just have to wait and see. Will it lean into the whole meme thing, try to ride those waves of internet hype, or go for that mainstream acceptance, even if it means, I don't know, losing a bit of that initial spark? What do you think?
That's the beauty of it, right? It's an open question. And it's not just about SHIB either. The whole crypto space is trying to figure out its identity. Really makes you think.
It really does. Well, that's about all the time we've got for today's deep dive.
It's been a fascinating one for sure.
For sure, lots to think about. And for everyone listening, remember what they say. Knowledge is power. The more you understand this stuff, the better off you'll be. So keep learning, keep exploring, and until next time, this has been The Deep Dive.